Welcome home, where we provide information, inspiration, and motivator after motivator after motivator here on America's Next. I have Philip Jones Jr. here with me today. How are you, Philip?
I'm doing well, sir. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Without a doubt, without a doubt. I see you have that Why Not T-shirt on. Are you part of a nonprofit?
Yes, sir. I am a part of the Why Not Foundation. Is a youth needing organ and tissue transplant, and we've been around for 13 years. Started in Ohio, moved down to Atlanta. Now working in DC area along with the West Coast at Los Angeles, California right now.
Great. That's great. That's great. We're gonna get into that body of work, but first I want to talk a little bit about where you come from. Where were you born at?
I was born in Los Angeles, California. I reside in Los Angeles, California as well.
Oh, really? What's it like living out there in Cali?
It's different, honestly. I've been to different places around the United States, and so to see different other cities compared to mine, it puts a lot of things into perspective for me. And I did live in somewhat of a rough neighborhood of South Central LA. So I did deal with the gang banging and the violence, and along with the police brutality and things of that nature. So it's different.
Wow. I do think that I hear somewhat of a West Coast accent from you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the way that you just said different. You said it almost like how they said it in some of the old school West Coast classics. Yeah.
That's what I listen to. So yeah, I'm sure it comes out in my language, some way or another.
Right. Yeah. Tell me about what it was like in elementary school for you. What was it like being a kid growing up in South Central? Did you say South Central?
Yes.
Yeah. Tell me what it was like growing up out there.
For me, it was actually probably different from a lot of the kids' youth growing up because I had chronic kidney disease at the age of 4.
Wow.
And so my childhood wasn't like everybody else's. It was the go outside and play type of thing like everybody else did, but it wasn't always, taking trips and doing those things. I spent 2 months in a hospital at 4 years old when my kidneys did fail. And so, I pretty much worked on 30% of kidney function through my whole childhood to the age of 16.
So from an early age of 4 years old, you were taking life seriously, more seriously than probably most people around you.
Correct.
Wow. Did you feel your mindset change even at that young age? Did you feel it change from every day is just a good fun day for Philip to having a more serious perspective about life?
It didn't set in for me until maybe after I tried to go back to that regular lifestyle, what I was used to playing and, with my grandparents and things of that nature, like we used to do. And then it came to the point where my parents were like, you can't do that. Certain things I couldn't go back to doing. So I had to make the adjustment. Then that's when I was like, okay, this is real. I gotta make some changes somewhere. Something's got to change. I knew, because I know even when young, I was stubborn. So in my mind, I was already thinking like some of this stuff is still gonna stay the same either way it goes. So
why couldn't you go back to doing the things that you couldn't do?
I think mainly the majority of the stuff is my eating habits.
Okay.
Because dealing with kidney disease, there are a lot of things you can't eat because your kidneys can't filter them.
Okay.
So, that was a main big adjustment for me was what I ate when I was younger, because I'm not saying I ate anything and everything I wanted to, but as a kid, it was like, hey, I want this. Can I have that? Cookies, this, that, and the other. And it had to change. It was like, it went from whatever my pattern was at the time to, all right, you can have one this week and one next week. And, so on that level that would change. But when it comes to my activities, I think I would say that probably stayed the same for the most part because I
Mm,
wasn't a reckless child, jumping on trees and that type of thing.
mm,
So they didn't really have to worry about me too much with that. Like I said, I did stay with my grandparents a lot, so they
mm.
were my rock pretty much when
Right.
I was at that age. So you know,
I'm still stuck on the food thing, the change in your diet at such a young age. I know when I was young, I was always happy to see a bag of chips, always happy to see a cake, especially a birthday cake, always happy to see some penny candy. Did y'all have penny candy when you were little?
yeah, I believe we did because
Yeah,
my
Tootsie
dad
Roll.
was yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
all that kind of stuff. And so, I mean, that must have been a major change for you to have to really grow up from a standpoint of the things that you put in your body. I mean, as you recall today, that was tough. That was tough. How did your diet specifically change? Did you have to get into more vegan options? Did you have to stay away from sugar? What was that like?
It was more of like staying away from sauces, staying away from seasonings, that type of thing. So what I learned to do real early because my mom loved to cook at home, along with my grandparents as well, were uh, I learned to use certain seasonings that actually make certain foods give off, juices and things of that nature, so it doesn't make your foods dry. So,
Mm-hmm.
like for instance, with pasta, I learned how to let certain fluids out with shrimp, or with beef or chicken or whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
that way the pasta is not dry and it still gives that seasoning off at the same time. So it made it a big adjustment. I had to learn on the fly basically because it's not like my parents were used to doing that. Cooking that way. They're used to cooking. My family was pretty much from the South, so
Mm-hmm.
Arkansas, Louisiana, that area. So they're used to cooking with tons of seasonings and things of that nature. So I pretty much learned how to. I learned how to cook from them. I learned how to cook
Okay.
what I can eat from myself.
From yourself.
Yeah.
So would you say that your family didn't all of your family didn't really change the way that they were cooking based off of your condition?
Oh no, that's definitely true.
Really?
My family still eats the way they've been eating for the past 30 years, and that's not gonna change whatsoever. So, and I don't expect it to. I didn't expect them to change their eating for me.
Mm-hmm.
Now what I expected was for them to change the way they cook for me if they
Mm-hmm.
cooked for me.
Right,
Not necessarily the way that they ate. I'm not that type of a selfish person where it's like, oh, I got to eat this way. You do too.
right. But
So
I also think about the reality that maybe we don't eat so well in general,
correct.
and maybe we as a communities around America need to revisit the way that we eat. And as I sit here and I listen to your story, hi mom, hi Eddie. As hey, first let me take it back a second. I appreciate everybody who tunes in to America's Next Motivator, supports our guests, and supports our platform every single time that you show up here for our broadcast. I appreciate you every single time. Feel free to share this stream, invite other people to watch this powerful interview with this powerful gentleman. Drop comments and questions, and we're going to observe every single one of them. But as I sit here and listen to you, Philip, I'm thinking everything happens for a reason. Everything has a divine connection. And if Philip has to change the way that he eats in our family, do we also need to change the way that we eat to just to be more wholesome, to be more healthy? Is fried chicken always good for us? Is fried pork chops always good for us? Right? And so, do you think that there's a need for us to change the way that we eat as a community?
I definitely do. Yeah, honestly, I think if I was a parent in that type of situation, having a kid, then I would also make the adjustment myself to change the way because I know how I can. it can feel to sit there and you're eating salad and everybody else is eating ribs and potato salad and you like, well, where's mine at? So I definitely think it's for the good of, if you're in that situation, your child, to make that change, not only for them but for yourself as well, because
Mhm.
9 times out of 10, kids pretty much look into what their parents do. And
Okay.
so if
That's
they can
right.
see their kids, their parents eating well also, then the transition is easy.
Mm.
Now they say, okay, my mom and my dad are doing it, so it must be nothing wrong with it.
Right.
Whether it's good or not, good for them or not, they'll still do it, or at least try. They might not like certain things that their parents like.
Right.
But the fact that you're giving them the opportunity to get in a better position, nutrition and health wise, is a great thing. So yeah, I think we all need to, period, even not being in that situation, because especially as us being African Americans, kidney failure is pretty much run by African Americans. So
Really?
yeah,
Hold
so
up. Hold up. Hold up. Let's break that down. I didn't know that.
yeah.
When you say that kidney failure is something that deeply affects the African American community, I'd like for you to expound on that. Do you have any more information on that?
At this particular moment, I don't. I am working on something right now to present to the public on the importance of our culture. Getting tested for certain things and eating certain ways. To make sure that if nothing else, if it's gonna happen, if it's something that's just gonna happen, then
Mhm.
hopefully it doesn't happen until somewhere down the line, where it doesn't mess up your occupation dreams, or your financial dreams or anything like that. So we want to, what we do at Why Not is actually for pediatric patients, but at the same time we're also looking to better everybody else as well.
Oh, without a doubt.
Just because we cater to the youth in the pediatrics department doesn't mean that we don't care about the adults as well. That the adults is a big part of what we do, because when our kids get to make that transition to adults, we help them with that transition. If we don't know what's going on the adult side, how are we going to move them from that side to the adult side?
Right, right, right. And so we definitely always want to be inclusive. I'm a very big supporter of inclusion. I
Mm-hmm.
always want everybody, I mean every single person, to feel like they're connected to new information that we learn, new strategies that we learn, new benchmarks that we make. And that's one of the reasons why it made my light bulb go off when you said that kidney failure was a big issue in the African American community. Because I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I know we deal with things like high blood pressure, which deals with the way that we eat, and some of that's genetic as well. But right now we're connecting that to the things that we eat and the way that we eat, because you had to make a sacrifice in your life at a tender young age. And it makes me wonder, was one of those reasons why you had to make that sacrifice at a tender young age, that we all need to start making that sacrifice at whatever age we are now. So I ask you, what became one of your favorite foods as you changed the way that you eat?
It probably is a mixture of salad, and because even with salad, I can still put just a little bit of certain foods I would normally be able to eat a regular portion of
What's a
in
regular
there.
portion?
So, like for instance, in my salad, I usually put a little bit of cheese, a little bit of maybe some bacon bits or something like that. Some I mean, eggs not a problem, but those type of things. Certain salad dressings, I could put a little bit in there, to kind of give it some texture. I make it so dry, so you know um it's certain things, and other people put certain things in their salads. Certain things that I don't put in there, but that I would be able to if I did eat those things,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to sitting down for Sunday dinner, and I'm sitting there eating bacon wrap something,
Right.
some
Right.
something like that. So it's it's big to make that change, honestly.
It's
Like I said,
huge.
especially because if I'm sitting there and I got this plate of health food sitting on my plate,
Mm-hmm.
and the family, it's somebody's birthday or it's Easter or it's Thanksgiving, and
Mm-hmm.
and everybody else is sitting there eating, ham and potato salad and green beans and potatoes and all the
Right.
stuff that I like,
Right.
and I can't eat any of it.
Right.
You know,
Well,
it, it
is that a fact that you can't eat any of it? Because my thing is this: I understand the need for us to eat to live. That's a big, big, big piece,
correct.
and it shouldn't be that I'm eating a health food item and you're eating regular food. It's that we should all be eating health food at some point in time, right? There should be no such thing as junk food. But what I also realize is that we need balance, and that while we might not understand how a potato salad can be good for you, or a green bean mixed with broth can be good for you, there is a time and place where that could fit into the human diet. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, but I also feel that even if a doctor says, "Hey, you can't eat this" or whatever, I feel like if you get that urge,
Mm,
like I'm not saying go out and get no, 2 or 3 day worth of whatever it is that you're spurging, but get a little bit, get that, kick that urge out the way and go back to doing, because that's what I do. You
right.
know, if I come, I'm sitting, I'm going, dang, I got to taste for some red beans and rice. I mean, I
Okay.
can't have no, big bowl like I normally would have eaten, so I usually go get enough for me to get a little bit out of there, and I usually give the rest to my pops or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Let him devour it, and that way I don't have to worry about looking at it in the refrigerator and attempting to go get it. So, but yeah,
I got
it's
it.
yeah.
I got it. So what was next? What was next? How were your aspirations affected? What did you want to be, and how did that change as your life progressed?
Wow. I had so many things on the table that I wanted to do that I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Wow.
And, I wanted to play football, of course. I wanted to go to pre-law for school. I wanted to be a pediatrician at the same time. So I wasn't sure exactly which way to go, and I know it's something that's important to figure that out early,
Mm-hmm.
when you're coming up, because it can affect, which way you end up going. So if you don't know what you're doing and you just going through school, just taking regular classes, and then you all of a sudden you're like, all right, I want to do this. And then you mess around, go to a counselor, and they're like, well, now you got to go take all these classes
Mm-hmm.
to get to where you want to go. When
Mm-hmm.
had you figured this out, 2 years ago, you would have been exactly where you need to be, to
Yeah,
get to
right.
where you're going.
Right.
You
So
know,
so hold on before we get to there, because you're getting ready to take off. I want to know, before you actually took off into your trajectory that you took. I want to know, how did you maintain a positive attitude through it all? Because we're talking about 5, 6, and 7 years of a health condition that changed the way that you had to do things. I want to know how you were able to keep a positive attitude. Was your attitude always positive?
my attitude was always positive because I've always had my family by my side.
Okay.
That's what keeps me going to this day is my family. I have my parents here. The only thing that I think that I wish I still had to this day are my grandparents.
Right. Yeah.
All of them, as of last year in October, have passed away. So I think that would have given me a bigger boost to be able to see them see me get to all these major points in my life and how I fought through them, going to school, going to high school, graduating from high school, graduating from college, and things of that nature. So my family is pretty much what's gotten me from age 4 to now.
Wow.
Without them, I don't get here. I don't, because it's been times where I've been in the hospital a month, 2 months, and it was always somebody coming to see me, somebody always sitting with me, somebody always laughing with me.
Wow.
And if people don't believe that laughter is the best medicine, you better pick. Yeah, okay. I'll be
Right.
the one to tell you that I laughed plenty of times sitting in the hospital with tubes in my sides and wires in my back. And I've had family come, as bad as I was hurting in those areas, I was still sitting there laughing. And it's what got me to realize, like, if all these people are willing to come see me and sit with me and spend their time with me, then I need to take my time and use that time to fight, to get out of here, to have a better life,
Mm.
because they're not doing it for nothing. They want to see me get out of whatever situations that I'm in, and especially, the other thing that got me out of that is I had a really good church family. So whenever they saw me, they were always, "Hey, Philip, let me pray for you." They were calling, "Hey, let me pray for you." My uncle is the pastor emeritus of our church, the church
Okay.
that I'm at now, and my cousin actually is the executive pastor over that now. But I originally I was at a church called Great New Jerusalem, and that church was always good to me.
Right.
You know,
So I want to take this moment to zoom in on the fact that you bring up another good point that family essentially is everything to you, and your family being a part of your life and showing you that you matter, showing you that they want to see you get out on the other side of any time you were in the hospital meant the world to you. What would you say to families all across America who might have a loved one who's going through something that they have not checked on? What would you say to those families today?
stay by their side at all costs. Don't turn your back on them. Just because they might not get better in the time that you want them to get better in, doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. And your love and your commitment to love them and be there for them will push them further than you could ever imagine. A person's fight can only go so far. And with the
Mm.
additional fight of family and friends in those types of situations, man, you can see things turn around at the drop of a hat. I have a real quick example. Um, in 2010, I had to get rushed to the emergency room because I had a brain bleed, and I had to go into emergency surgery for that brain bleed that same night. They rushed me in there. Before I went in there, the first person I saw was my mother. She was sitting there. She was on her she was on her phone, and I woke up and she looked at me. And I remember the nurse walked in and she said, "Okay, I just want to let what's going to happen for this surgery." And at that point, I'm looking at, I'm like, exactly what do you need to tell me that I'm gonna need to know, because I'm gonna be asleep.
Wow.
And she goes, "So we're gonna have to drill 3 holes in your head before we open it." And I remember my mom looked at her and she said, You do mean asleep, right?" And she said, "Oh no, I'm sorry." I just looked at her and I laughed because I my mom looked and she just kind of stepped in front of me because she already knew, you know, uh, she knows her son at the end of the day. So, my whole thing is Stay by your loved ones, whether it's a son, daughter, cousin, nephew, niece, even if it's a best friend. If you know somebody that's in the situation, then you need to stick by them. However you can. I'm not saying it has to be financially, but just in support alone can do so much for somebody in those situations. So please stick by whoever it is that you might have in these conditions, because your love can potentially get them out of whatever it is that they're in.
I want to put out a call to action today for people out there in the world to check on a family member this evening. Check on somebody. Let them know that they matter to you. Let them know that you love them. Let them know that you are in support of them. Because what I'm hearing right now from this gentleman is that it hits home, and it makes a huge difference. Ladies and gentlemen, we are talking to a strong man today. A strong man. Your testimony is already inspiring me, and it's gonna live on to inspire people around the world in years to come. And it sounded like you just told me this doctor said he was gonna drill 3 holes in your head without putting you to sleep. Is that what you just said?
That's exactly what I said the same thing to myself when I heard it.
Wow. But you came out on the other side of that.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I think it took about a day or two for me to wake up.
Mm-hmm.
Because being in that type of surgery, it takes it takes for them to use a lot,
Okay.
to keep you down and keep you, out of it. And so, it took about a day or two for me to come back. And, like I told you, man, the family thing, and when I woke up, both my parents were standing there.
Right.
They weren't going to go anywhere. They took off work for however long they needed to. And they have continued to do that over time. Even to this day, if it was, something that landed me in the hospital, major, my mother would get a phone call and be off work and be at the hospital in a split second. I'm 30 years old and she will still do it
Right.
to this
Right.
day.
Right.
So,
We don't get too old for the connection from one family member to another. And like you said, family is not always somebody that's blood related to you. It can be a friend, it could be an associate that becomes family. It could be your next door neighbor. We have an opportunity in life to become family. Would you agree with that?
definitely. I mean, I've had a lot of people that in the beginning I've called, just friends or people I knew, and it led from that to them being like family to me. I mean, my best friend is probably the closest outside of actual family that I actually consider really kind of, family. So
Mm-hmm.
also a guy named Darren that I did my teachers program with. He's actually an elder in the church. So to have him in my life as well was big for me. And he's always been there. He's come to see me in the hospital. He's called me, he'll text me or whatever the case may be. So there's another number of people that I have in my circle that aren't related to me by blood, just off the things that we've dealt with together.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, I feel like they're family for sure.
Sure. Sure. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking to Philip Jones Jr. His testimony is very inspiring, but we're not done. We're not done. We're going to be back after a brief message to learn more about how Philip Jones Jr. has overcome in the past and will continue to overcome in the future right after this message. America's Next Motivator, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern, Tuesday and Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern. America's Next Motivator, hosted by Cedric Riley, sponsored by our good friends at 4D Healthware. And we're back. You okay, Philip?
Yes, sir.
So tell me, have you gone to different places around the country and shared your story?
Not really, honestly, because it took me a while to uh kind of work that up to start talking about my story. So honestly, not within the past 10 years, I've told some people that really don't know it too much. I've met a lot of people at the transplant games who I also consider my family. They're all either transplant patients or they're donors or donor families, and they play a big part of my life also, to connect with them. So, really, kind of outside of them, and doctors, I guess.
Hmm.
Um, I haven't really, not really told my story like that. So,
Right. Well, I'm happy to have you here on America's Next Motivator because what we're doing is we're collecting stories from our people and we're presenting them so that people can gain inspiration, education, and motivation. But I can see you going to different places, sharing your story with young people, sharing your story with adults, because anything that involves your immediate health being in jeopardy is a tough thing to deal with. It's a tough thing to deal with, and you've been dealing with it from the time you were 4 years old. So I'm proud of you today, and I'm glad that you were willing to come onto our platform. But I want to talk about how did you end up getting involved with the nonprofit? Because at some point you had to say, "Hey, I'm going to give back to other people who are affected by this." Is that true?
oh, definitely. It's funny because me and Edward had that conversation earlier today, and I was telling them,
Who's
you
that with?
know, Edward is the CEO of Why Not,
Okay.
and Edward got me into. We met at the 2018 transplant games.
Okay. What are the transplant games, if you
The
will?
transplant games is an Olympic style event, and not just having sporting events, but also recognitions and things of that nature, that where they recognize transplant patients, donor families, living donors. Whether it's deceased donors, that's usually why the donor families are there, because their loved one gave organ to somebody after their death. And so, it has a lot of different sporting events: basketball, track and field, bowling, um, golf. It's basically Olympics for transplant patients. And it's a great experience, man. First time I went was actually in 2008, which was in Pittsburgh.
Hmm.
And I mean, it opened my eyes to a lot of things, a lot of people. And I definitely was trying to get back from that year to 2008. And the only thing that kept me from going was the fact that I've had some pushbacks. Basically, I've always ran into something. I don't have the perfect health. So sometimes when I look up, it's just some things that I have to deal with, you know.
Right.
And but I was able to get back in 2018, and I met Edward Drake at the basketball tournament. We were both in at the time, and we talked for a split minute there. And then and he gave me his contact and stuff, and he said, "Hey man, contact me." And from that point on was when I said, "Okay, I know this is who I want to be, who I want to do, what I want to do with," because I've been trying for the past 9 years before I actually started with Why Not, to do what I'm doing now with Why Not. So
Right.
the fact that he's giving me this platform to do what I've been trying to do for 9+ years
Hmm.
is wonderful. We got a lot of things going on over there, some things that we're working on to make children smile, to make a difference in pediatric pre and post transplant as well. And the fact that he gave me the opportunity, is wonderful to me, man. I don't take it for granted. I'm very blessed and grateful that he said yes to me.
Right. Now,
Good.
when you say that you all participated in Olympic style games, and it was a big deal. Obviously, it wasn't just you and some neighborhood friends. There must have been people there from all over the country, if not all over the world. I just hear when you said that to me, that translate into phenomenal courage, phenomenal strength, and phenomenal belief in self. Teamwork. I get so many positive thoughts when you say that you participated in Olympic style games, despite the fact that you had very serious health issues, and that other people were there that also had health issues. I think that that's major. I think that is so inspirational to have been a part of. Now, you also mentioned that you partner with Edward Drake to figure out how to put a smile on children's faces. Talk to me about how you all put smiles on children's faces, and who are these children?
We have a list. Like I said, we Edward started in Ohio in his hometown. He kind of moved it to Atlanta when he moved, and so we worked in that area as well. Now in the DMV area was DC, Maryland, Virginia, who is run by Austin Lee. I'm in the current position right now, the Southern California representative for the Why Not Foundation. So um, I say it's Southern California, but I try to do as much as I can for this whole side of the United States, as much
Right.
as I can, because I don't want to just focus on certain kids. I want to try my best to get to all of them, you
Wow.
know. And so there's a number of things that we do right now. We're actually putting together a toy drive. I mean, I'm sorry, not that. That's way down the line. School supply drive right now. We're working to get school supplies for students who are, maybe still be in school, but they're still dealing with pre or post transplant.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we want to kind of take a little bit off of them and their parents having to go get these supplies at least early in the year.
Okay.
I know even with sales, that stuff can come out to, hundreds of dollars sometimes.
Sure.
We just kind of, our whole thing is to make the kids smile, but also help the parents as well, in their situation, because we know it's not easy.
Right.
Like I said, I've been through the youth side to it, so I know. Um, we don't have a specific location yet for our LA drop off. We're working on a specific hospital right now, which I really don't want to mention right now, but
It's in the works.
and so yeah, it's in the work, definitely in the works. It's for late August. And so what we'll do is one or two things. Either we'll take these supplies down there, either in backpacks, maybe some drawstring bags, and we're also going to include hand sanitizer and face masks that we're getting made, hopefully getting made for our organization,
Okay.
and including those. Um, and then we're either gonna, if we're still having a lockdown here at this time, where certain
Mhm.
things locked down and nobody can go in, then we'll just drop them off to some nurses so they can pass them out, or we'll go up there ourselves, of course, with masks and gloves and things of that nature to be social distancing and be
Right.
safe, and drop them off to them. There'll be a number of things in these bags. It won't just be like, the paper and the notebook. It'll
Right.
be some things that kind of last them at least the first month or two of school.
Right.
And so, this is what we pretty much get up every day for.
That's
And it's very important, not just to me, but our whole team.
that's incredible. That's incredible. You guys are running a very heroic organization over there, and I definitely commend you all. Philip, I want you to take a few seconds and speak to parents out there who might be raising a child who has been in need of a transplant. Maybe they're waiting for a transplant. Can you provide hope to any of those parents today?
The most hope that I can give you would be to say, see if you are a match for your child,
Wow.
because you don't understand how much you can get your child out of the position that they're in just by finding out that you're a match, you know, or see if there's a family member that wouldn't mind get tested. I mean, get a list of people if you can, because what happens is things happen, and there's a possibility that one, whatever organ you gave might not, last, as long as you guys expect it to, and
Hmm.
you need them to get another one. Well, at least hey, this person was a match also. Or it might not work out that you were a match in the first place, and you might have to go to the second or third person on that list. So first things first is to see if you're a match. The second thing I would say is to see if there's any other family members that wouldn't mind being tested to see if they're a match, or any family friends, church friends, anything of that nature. Also, use social media. You
Okay.
know, media is a big part of a lot of people who have gotten transplants. A friend of mine who went to Utah with me for the games. Aaron, she gave, I believe, her kidney to a complete stranger.
Wow.
So there's not like it's not known or seen for you to get an organ from somebody you don't even know. You
Hmm.
know, use
Right.
social media along with family, along with friends, because it'll go a long way. Especially if they're young, you can get them out of having to deal with these situations through their childhood, and they can have somewhat of a normal one, afterwards. So yeah, that's what I would say, is to definitely get tested for your child.
Okay. Okay. That's great advice. That's great advice. Social media helps raise awareness. Now, are you talking about maybe uh, a campaign on Facebook, for instance, or a campaign like on what platforms would social media be most effective to help with the cause?
Any platform, like you said, Facebook, Instagram, whether you want to come up with a blog where kind of, take pictures and, write down about how your day went, and, so people can read about it and keep up with you. There's plenty of ways for that to happen. You can also research and find out other ways that people might have done, and it worked for them. It might work for you. I mean, it's not going to work for everybody, but it could definitely, if you don't try, you'll never know. One thing my father always told me was, closed mouth don't get fed.
That's
So,
right.
if you don't open your mouth, guess what? You're not going to know.
Right. That's right. Can you tell me, in the work that you've been doing, do you know if there have been any discoveries as a result of people needing to really take care of themselves? Have there been any discoveries about how can we take care of our bodies better than what we usually do?
Oh, I'm sure there has. A lot of it just has to do with taking the time to research it, because there's different point of views from different healthcare professionals. So, you might hear something from this doctor and something from this doctor, and a combination of that might be what works. You just you have to really kind of do your due diligence and finding out the information that you're looking for. Um, so it's definitely something that's going to take time, because it's not like you're just going to look on the internet now for the next 5 minutes and find what you need.
Right.
So you're going to have to be patient. If whether you're young, whether you're older, whatever the case may be, just make sure. The one thing I always tell people is that wording is everything.
Wording is
So
everything.
if you word it to what you're looking for, you'll get the answer.
Okay. Okay. Have you learned any specific health tips that you would like to pass on today?
Um, Beside my own thing would be portion size. I should say, really. Don't just try to, eat any and everything that you are able to eat just because they say that you can eat it. Doesn't mean that a lot of it is good for you. And so, if you have a dietitian or you can get, in contact with one, talk to a dietitian. If you got high blood pressure, if you got diabetes, if you have high or low cholesterol, any of those things like that, or any other type of medical, I won't call it illness for those situations, but things that you battle with your health, ask doctor or ask the dietitian. Nine times out of 10, your doctor knows a dietitian.
You know, I don't have a dietitian right now. I wonder how many of us out there don't currently work with a dietitian. And if, based off this conversation, we're discovering that we need to have a dietitian.
Oh, it would be great to have one. I found a lot of things change for me because it was some things that I was eating because of the wording that I got. It wasn't that I was understanding, it was the fact that I didn't want to get away from certain foods. So I
Mm-hmm.
was kind of hearing things and just trying to play to one side of it.
Like what? Give me an
Mhm.
example.
So, for instance, recently I was talking to a dietitian and I asked them how to bring my calcium up. And so she said, "Yeah, eat dark leafy greens," and I'm like, "Okay." So I said, and the only thing I heard in that was greens. So I'm like, "Okay, so regular salad is good, right?" She's
Right.
like, "Dark leaf." I'm like, "Oh man." And I'm like, "Okay, so green beans and peas, right?" And she's like, "Leafy." I'm like, "Dang." So it's good to when you get one, pay attention to what they're saying. Write stuff down, if you can, because a lot of them have these lists of things that are high or low in certain areas, and they have pictures next to them. So you can know, okay, this is what they're talking about, as opposed to doing what I did and kind of just playing to one side of what I was told. Like I understood what she was telling me,
Right.
but but I was like trying to keep what I was already eating in play. So
Right.
yeah, just right as there, take notes, pay attention to what they're telling you, and actually listen to what they're telling you. Because if you don't listen to it, it doesn't matter what they tell you. They can
And,
be giving you. Go ahead.
and you have to listen because your life is on the line.
Exactly.
And so we have to be very, very careful about our life force energy, the body that we're walking around in, because we only get one body in this life. And it's important, like you say, talk to a dietitian. And for those of us who might need more clarity on dark leafy greens, we're talking about not just collard greens, but we could be talking about Swiss chard. We could be talking about rainbow chard. We could be talking about kale. We could be talking about moringa. We could be talking about sea greens, right? Such as chlorella, chlorophyll. And so these are the sorts of greens that we don't typically have in our diet. Kelp, right? These are the types of things that we need to be exploring and that we need to be getting into in order to take care of our bodies in a better way than we've been taking care of them. Because for some of us, when you say greens, they might be thinking regular basic spinach or, like you said, salad lettuce or even basic collard greens. But the green variety family is much bigger than what we might even suspect. What do you think about that?
Oh, that's definitely true. I mean, it's a long list of things that you can actually eat to better your blood pressure, your calcium, or your cholesterol, things of that nature. And most of us don't even know what's on that list. We think
Wow.
our normal diet is what the world revolves around in, and it's not.
Yep.
If you were to have dinner at a vegan play, you had a friend that's vegan and they're like, hey, come have dinner with me, and like, yeah, I'll try some salad and some things that you thinking would
Right.
be something normal, and you get there and you look and you're like, okay, what is this?
Yep.
So, it's important, excuse me, to research these things, um, because you never know. You might come across the things that they give you, you may not like. But if you research it deep enough, you might come across something that you actually do like, that you say, okay, I can do that. I'm still doing it to this day.
Hmm.
I'm still looking up certain things because I know I'm like, man, I don't eat that. Uh, Prime example, for instance, um, the dietitian that I talked to her, she said fish. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, so my immediate answer was, does it matter how my fish is made? Does it matter if
Good
it's fried?
question.
Does it matter if it's baked, on the grill? I mean, I eat them, all those ways, but I just want to know if it was one specific way that, may not cook all the calcium out of it or whatever the case may be. And those are also the things you have to ask questions.
Right.
Talking to a doctor or a dietitian, social worker, any type of, doctor, healthcare professional, if you don't understand, ask questions, because you can be like, oh, okay, yeah, I understand. And you go home and then you look up and you're in the hospital because
Yeah.
you really didn't understand and you ate exactly what they told you not to eat,
Right.
or put in your body. Maybe it's fluid wise. So, you know,
Definitely research, ask questions, find out new things. You know,
right.
I think that's a big part of this discussion is discover new things. I went to a cookout one time, funny story, and two of the sides were what looked like mashed potatoes and what looked like sweet potatoes. I took some of both. The sweet potatoes were actually turnips. It was mashed up turnips. It was no ordinary potatoes in there at all. It was mashed up turnips. And the other was sweet potatoes, but they were flavored with orange juice. And that for me was a totally new experience. And it was healthy as well. And
Mhm.
so just like you're saying, we have to be open. We have to be open to changes. We have to be open to change. And we also have to be able to adapt to the changes that happen in the change that happen in our lives. So as we round third base in this discussion, and you've been great today, I want to know what's next for you, Philip.
Um, as of right now, for the summer, I'm pretty much full steam ahead for Why Not right now and what we're trying to do. I will start back school in the fall semester.
Okay.
I already have those classes. I'll be getting my second degree, which would be a theater arts transfer degree. So I'll be transferring with a theater degree and also a liberal studies degree. So when I transfer, I'll be uh, a double major for liberal studies and teachers prep, and also for theater. So that's right now what's kind of on my plate right now is pretty much 90%. I would say 90%. Why not? And 10% school, but
Right.
because no matter how much I put into, it's always a full effort. I mean, I say 10% because uh, I have 6 classes, but two of them are theater, so technically I really only have 4. So
Mm-hmm.
um, it's a small amount. It's not compared to what I have to do for Why Not. It's when you do stuff like this, it's a lot. You work. I work with a great team, so it makes it that much easier for me to do a lot more for Why Not. I'm very dedicated to my schoolwork, so I don't even have to worry about if that's going to get done or not. I know
Right.
that's going to get done.
Right.
That's as little of a percent I gave it is actually at the top of my list.
Right. And
So
I think that your journey, while it's far from over, has been it's been very much an encouragement to the people around you. I want to let you know that I appreciate your testimony, your story, and you sitting down with us today because you didn't have to be here, but you took it upon yourself to share your story to benefit others. And I got 3 quick questions that I want you to answer as we finish up here. Okay. The first question is, what is survival to you?
survival to me is fighting. If you don't fight, you lose. automatically you don't have a shot, because no matter what it is that you're fighting to survive, whether it's you being in the army, you being in a health crisis, if you don't fight in those situations, you don't live.
What is
So
what is success to you?
success is life. I mean, I think we all live to get to the point of success. You
Mm-hmm.
know, we all go through school from kindergarten to 12th grade. Why? To succeed and graduate from high school. We
Yep.
go to college. Why? To succeed and graduate from that. You know, we want to go and have a great job to be able to succeed and provide for our families, our mothers, our fathers, have them stop working because of all that they've done for us, you know, growing up and things of that nature. So um, that's what it means to me.
What is greatness to you?
That's a good one. Um, Greatness means that I've achieved everything that I put out for.
Sure.
If I have everything on, if I have a list of 10 things that I want to achieve and get to, then to me, I've achieved greatness. It might not be greatness to, you know, this person or that person, but to me, you know, to my family, that's greatness, because especially if it comes to graduating from college, you know, having a great job where my parents can go sit down, don't have to worry about getting up at, you know, 5:30 in the morning to go to work. You
Mm-hmm.
know, to me, that's greatness. I've done what I was told that I told myself to do from the young age of 5. I always knew that that was my goal,
Mm-hmm.
was
Yep.
to get to the point where Philip Jones Sr. and Sherry Bird can go sit down and not have to worry about getting up to go drive a train or getting up to go to a college to go cut grass. Like I don't want my parents to do that, you
Right.
know, any longer. So I'm definitely still fighting for that as well.
Right.
That would be greatness to me.
Right. Well spoken today, Philip. I want to let you know that the things you've shared today have been educational, they've been inspirational, and they've been motivational. I want to give you your respect today. I want to give you your crown today. Also, welcome you to the Pride Empowerment Network and let the world know that you are one of America's next motivators. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you.
For sure. I'll see you soon. All right. Thanks.
All right, sir.
All right, everybody. Tune in tomorrow for another installment of America's Next Motivator. Bye bye.